He speaks of days past and days yet to come. Fjölnir cut out his tongue, plucked out his eyes before killing him. But I made him once anew.
Hello, listening people.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello, Bartek. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, Ryan. I just feel like I haven't done this for a while.
Where have you been?
Where have we been?
I've been here. I'm always here. I always am
Just
here.
behind the microphone waiting for me to come?
I power down every time the podcast is off. I'm like David and the guest. When I'm not on, I just shut down and wait for it to start back up again. But no, we are back after an unexpected break.
Yeah.
Everything got bit. I got sick.
It was just layers of things. It's like, okay, we're done with all that stuff. Then you got sick, and then it's like, oh, well.
We could have come back last week, but we, both Bartek and I, said, no. We're going to be watching anime together instead. We're going to be watching Macross instead.
Yeah, anime and Yum Yum.
Yes, and yeah, Bartek, you said it, Yum Yum. I have my other podcast, Yum Yum Podcast, and we just have been doing the Star Trek Starfleet Academy show, and you have been a co-host for that adventure, being someone who hasn't seen Star Trek before. Thought it was fun to get you on and be like, what does this do for you? And it did a lot for you. You were like, Paul Giamatti as the villain?
It's the greatest Star Trek thing I've ever seen.
I sure hope Paul Giamatti's not only in 3 episodes spread evenly across the show. I hope it's more than that.
Well, they say that they've finished season 2, which I read as we've done everything with Paul Giamatti.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. I hope that if they get greenlit for season 3 itself, he comes back.
Well, I made the joke in that last episode we recorded that, like, oh, well, now they can use our feedback for season 3.
They better. But today we are here on Spit and Polish to do our show Pictures Powwow, in which we sit down and talk about a movie that has come recommended. And today's recommendation, long overdue, of course, it's from one of the listening people out there. That's right, one of you. And it's someone we know, a good friend of ours, Sorab. He's been on the podcast before. He's a movie buff. He loves these things. And one of the last times that Bartek and I saw Sorab, he actually told us about this movie. He was like, you guys need to see this movie, The Northman. And he also said The Green Knight, which was a previous recommendation from him on this podcast. He's like, you guys need to see this Northman. It's pretty great. And I was like, all right. And then he gave us a huge list of movie recommendations, and the Northman was on there. And I was like, well, I think we owe it to Sorab. And it feels like a good piece with the previous recommendation of The Green Knight, like these high-budgeted,
They felt very similar.
Period piece, fantastical, very moody, artistic representations of old tales from yesteryear.
Yeah, very like modernish sensibilities with this kind of oldish kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Very sparse with dialogue and fun character actor people. You're like, oh, this person's in it. Nicole Kidman's here. Oh, great. She's here in this one. Oh, neat.
She's doing an accent.
Yeah, she's doing a fun accent. Like in The Green Knight, it was Joel Edgerton. He was our Australian rep who did a funny accent in that one. And then Nicole Kidman's here to be our Australian rep doing a funny accent in this one. So that great stuff. But we do movies that come recommended. We are doing the listening peoples. And after this, we're going to hear at the end of the episode Bartek's recommendation for a film. And then the week after that, it is my recommendation. And we circle back around and we go through them. But let's dive straight into The Northman. We said it's a tale that's as old as time itself, but Bartek, how would you describe this to someone if you're trying to pitch them to watch it?
So from what I understand, this is kind of an adaptation of an old Norse story that itself is like the original inspiration for Hamlet. So, you know, the prince's father, the king, gets killed by his uncle, and it's kind of a revenge tale there. Also much like The Lion King.
Yes.
And so what we have here is a story of just that happening. Our main character is a kid at the very beginning. His father gets slain a few minutes after saying, if I ever get slain, you need to get revenge against the person that did it.
Played by beloved actor Ethan Hawke. And yes, he gets slain by the wicked, dastardly uncle who, when we first saw him, was like, I'm totally not a wickedly, dastardly man. Not at all.
Yes,
then,
and he kills his brother, the king, and is like, now I am king. And so our young man runs away, years pass, he's become a brutal killing machine, but also like following the footsteps of his warrior Viking father. There's a lot of like, "Grrr," berserker screaming kind of stuff going on in this film.
dog barking is a big part of it.
Yeah,
Woof.
yeah. Dog,
Imagery.
very, very dog.
Very dog.
Not Australian dog, but actual animal dog.
You're the man now, dog, yes.
Yes, that kind of dog. That kind of European dog. And yeah, it's the tale of him finally, he's ready to take his revenge after learning some interesting information.
It's, as we said, it's one that was the inspiration for Hamlet, and Hamlet is an inspiration for many a tales. You can say Lion King for sure. And this film, The Northman, deals with a lot of these themes of revenge and destiny. How much are they separate or interlinked with one another? Can you let go of one and get free of the other? Or is it just inevitable? Well, we're going to get into it. So people, if you have not seen The Northman, recommend that you do. This is a Robert Eggers movie, and I think that's a perfect place to start. I have now seen all of his feature films. This was the only one I hadn't. And there was no particular reason for why I did not see it. It was just one of those, I missed out on the chance. I just didn't get around to it, and now here it is. Robert Eggers did The Witch, which I think is a great leaping off point of like a genre of film, like this A24 moody horror aesthetic film. And we've done several movies over the years that have tapped into that vein, whether they're ones that were before The Witch or after, but The Witch is definitely the one that people can point to and say this really kicked off this specific trend of these atmospheric, moody, you would say modernist type of horror vibe films. And Robert Eggers is very much someone who delves into that. He is very much about period piece accuracy as much as possible. He studies all these dialects. He studies the history. He's a real nerd when it comes to these. I recommend highly, after this discussion, watching the snippets of his audio commentary track for The Witch, in which, again, The Witch is a great movie, but he hates it because it's not accurate enough.
Okay.
He will say, with an absolute sincerity in his voice, oh, this is a really good scene. But what I hate about this scene is, see those logs of wood behind them? Too modern.
Is this a case of like he knew he'd messed up while making it, or after the fact?
He just one of those, if I could do it again, I would do it with more authenticity. Like Anya Taylor-Joy, who appears in this movie, she's the lead, and you hear him say, she's a great actress. But I wonder if I should have CGI'd out the earring holes in her ears, because her character wouldn't have that. Like, he's that type of guy. Or like, the window here, what a great shot. But I feel like I could have made it dirtier. Like, these are the hyper-specific
The only
details.
thing I know about him is I think I was reading some of the trivia for this, and, it was one of those miserable experiences to film because the film just looks cold.
Yep.
It looks like it was cold in the location, and the trivia's like, oh yeah, it is. And this guy insisted on like 30 takes for everything.
Mm-hmm. And Alexander Skarsgård's in a loincloth for so many of these scenes.
Yeah, like I think after the time skip where they ravage that Russian village, or the village in the land of the Russes, there's just him walking in basically just underwear and shoes, and I'm like, god damn.
Yeah, and he has to not shiver on screen.
A European winter too, just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but hey, Alexander Skarsgård's from there, so he knows how to handle it, baby.
I think the trivia I read also said that like one of the actors had to go up to him and like, hey, she's not complaining, but she's like getting frostbite. You need to stop right now.
That's awesome. So I've seen this man's films before, so I knew the vibe going in. I knew what the aesthetic would be. I knew what the feel, the acting, the lack of dialogue, the period piece nature of it. I also knew that it was a riff on the Hamlet story, or the story that Hamlet is from. So I guess I kind of went in with no surprises, really, with this. And I will say, like, that did limit me a bit when it came to the enjoyment of the movie. There's plenty to say about what I did and didn't like about it, but on a baseline level, I was a little bit left going, oh, okay. And a part of it is I just knew so much going in without even
Okay.
trying. Just, I know of this filmmaker, so I know what he's going to do. I know this story, so I know what it's going to do. So both of those things kind of worked against me. Well, I feel like maybe, I don't know what your history is with Robert Eggers. You give the vibe that you haven't seen anything.
The complete opposite. This is the first thing I've ever seen of him.
Okay, and this is his big mainstream movie. This is like the
one?
big budget, like this is his huge budget movie. This is the studio movie. This isn't like the little indie, smaller, darling film. This
Okay.
is like the one where they gave him a huge budget. You can see it on the screen.
That's interesting because I haven't seen any of his films. I don't know too much about him. But looking at his filmography, I have heard of some of those titles like as a repeated thing, like here and there. Like The Witch, I don't know anything about it, but I've heard that name a lot. I feel like I've heard a lot of talk about The Lighthouse from you, even even from like our friend Will and maybe some others. So
Reese likes The Lighthouse.
So I would, I think just based on that, I would have thought that was his big one. Like this one, I don't think I've ever.
This is the third one. So like those first two, did well, gained a lot of critical appraisal, and then this came along. If you read the behind the scenes trivia of this, it's not the exact same experience, but this reads very much behind the scenes of David Lynch's Dune experience, in which he is this independent, or like this up and coming filmmaker, has a very bold artistic style, has had a couple of films that have done really well. Let's give them an incredible budget and no final cut. And it's very much like David Lynch's Dune. This is obviously much more coherent of a movie, but when you read the behind the scenes, and like he said, I will never do a movie like this again because they didn't give me final cut. I'm like, oh yes,
Eggers said that about this.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, oh, that's Lynch in a nutshell too. So, but what did you think of this movie overall? Like, well, since you have no real history, no real knowledge of things, did you know anything?
I didn't know anything about this film. I think I remembered, because it has been many, many weeks since we've done Spin Polish, and I'd forgotten. I kept forgetting the title of this film over the. It's been almost a month, I think. So I just had to quickly read the description of the last film. That's it. All right, let's get that film ready, and then I'll just start watching it when I'm ready. So I'd even forgotten who recommended it. I had a feeling it was Sorab. As the film,
when the opening credits come on, you're like, oh, Sorab.
As the film started, I'm like, oh yes, this film feels a lot like The Green Knight. I get the feeling this might be one of the many films Sorab recommended for us. And yeah, as the film started off, it was feeling a lot like The Green Knight, which, just as a recap, I wasn't too into that film, but it's one that I warmed up to a bit more after our discussion. At first, I was having this similar experience with this one, but this one I think I like more because there was just plot beats like at certain points that just like upped my interest. Like, oh, this is an interesting development. Oh, this is interesting. It just kept happening. And so I'm more positive on it. I'm still not too into this kind of style. But I had a decent time with this film, at least.
That's something, and I totally agree with you. I think this has a far more, even though it's untraditionally told, like there's a lot of surreal moments, a lot of just dialogue-less scenes, a lot of atmosphere, lots of crazy performances, lots of moments that just don't spell out the things for you, but this must be a cultural touchstone thing, like how this thing works with the Viking culture, the Norse culture.
I had
like
to trust this film a lot.
You have to trust this film a lot, but it does still follow a somewhat traditional storytelling structure. Like you still, like you said, there are these moments where it's like, and this moment hits here, boom, 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 boom. They foreshadow things. They tell you the themes of the movie. We see them explored. We even have a budding romance at the center of this movie about these two people on similar journeys, but they have different outlooks and different paths that they walk with their journey. And yet they still cross the roads at times.
It was interesting. I didn't read too much trivia and like reviews and stuff for this film, but I was reading that a lot of people who didn't like this film, criticized it for not having a lot of exposition, having like very slow burn kind of story.
Interesting.
And interestingly enough, like I think lack of exposition is sometimes something that gets me with some films that I don't like. I didn't actually feel it that much with this film. Yeah, I think it gave me just enough. Again, there's a lot of me trusting, like, okay, this is a very bizarre thing to me, but I'm sure that this is like based on actual tradition. But a lot of the plot beats, like, they are spelled out in dialogue, and like there's a lot of even like fantasy storytelling. Like you have a scene where a character explains this sword that you need to get, and it's like,
And the rules of it.
yeah, and the rules of it, and like you see those rules like be reinforced, like
And play out, yeah.
like when the guy said like, oh, you cannot unsheath it in the sunlight. When I heard that, I thought like, oh, that's like a metaphorical thing, but then it happens throughout the film. I'm like, oh no, that was like for real.
Yes, there are interesting wrinkles to how the things work like that in this movie, but overall, I do think that the criticism that this is a movie that's lacking exposition is bizarre to me, because I think it very much hammers them in, and I think in a very, to complement the film, it knows when to do it. It's like, and now here's when we implement it, rather than like front loading us with like a wall of text, or like here's the scene where Willem Dafoe gives us all the information. No, we're going to sprinkle it throughout, and just like the characters getting comfortable in their position, and nope, now things need to change, so this thing will happen and it will set them on this journey or further them along the revenge path, and we give them the little exposition / the audience they need to understand what they need to do going forward. I think it was very good in that way. That's, if anything, to me, it's too familiar of a story. Like, I do appreciate that a film of this scale, this budget, that came out at a really rough time as well. Like, this is during pandemic times this movie got released, is as weird as it is. Like, this is a weird movie. And this is like, when we compare it to The Green Knight was always far more of an artsy film.
Yeah, that one feels like a dream.
But this one's trying to be a mixture of that type of level of movie with something like, I don't even know what to compare to, but like something more crowd pleasery like Gladiator or something, where it's like Gladiator, for example, has like dreamy, weird stuff in it, but it's still a crowd pleaser. While this is like, we're doing that crowd pleaser revenge story where you get the catharsis of like seeing Alexander Skarsgård meticulously take down dudes, but also it's a Robert Eggers movie.
I think it was also a thing that I read in the trivia that like the marketing was misleading, where people did think it was going to be, just a more straightforward actiony thing. and I think it, like, even the trailers maybe were not emphasizing that our main character spends most of the film in like slave attire. They were more so emphasizing, when we see his
shirtless,
multiple shoulders, multiple six packs kind of thing.
6 packs upon 6 packs.
Yeah,
it's it's a good movie. I think, like, I watched it last night. It looks gorgeous, looks great. It's not, and I want to emphasize this is not a case of style over substance. And I always am wary of that criticism anyway, because style can be substance in a movie, because it's a very visual film. The characters are very sparse. You're not walking out of this movie going, this was a really nuanced character study of this, or, really insightful piece about the culture of this time, because the visuals do matter, but I think they are in aid of just this overarching tale of revenge and destiny. And it is hard not to say it's gorgeous when you shoot in these locations that are, to you and I, and I think to most viewing public out there, truly foreign locations. Like, I don't get to see this. There was this one shot where they were walking, and it was this wide shot, and you get that gorgeous kind of like green landscape and these mountains, and like the green landscape curves up in this really arched way to this volcanic black rock cliffside. I'm like, this is so...
There's the shot...
This is so elsewhere to me.
Late in the film, when he's in like that bath, like that natural, like,
hot
little
spring.
lake. It looked like hot spring. And you just see like the mountain and the volcano and like the almost looks like a lightning bolt of like magma lava going down it. It just looked like a, if there wasn't a shirtless man, there would be like a generic screensaver or desktop background. Like, oh, that's really cool.
Or something in a video game. The Witcher is here.
Oh, apparently Dark Souls people really love the scene where he gets the sword.
Oh, of course.
Apparently the fight with the guy that has the sword is just like, there's tells, it's slow but methodical.
It's a boss fight.
Yeah, for Dark Souls, Elden Ring kind of thing.
Of course, yes. But...
Right.
So, tell me a bit more about your thoughts on the film, things that leap out to your mind.
Yeah, well, just to continue on the thing of like the location, I do really like that setting of the film where it's this like, in my head, it kind of looks like a green bowl that the film hall takes place in. There's a line really early on when they go to the farm where they mention that, if you run away, there's like nowhere to go to. And for most of the film, like everywhere you see, if it's not a cave or like an inside of a building, it is just this grassy area. So it feels both simultaneously small and really wide open.
Yeah.
Like I can never tell when they're not at the farm, like how far away they are from the farm.
Mm.
I almost see like this kind of video game open world map.
Yeah, it feels both like an oasis, like this Eden-like, pleasurable, like, look at this vast thing, but also this desolate, inhospitable nightmare world, which then gets emphasized. We mentioned games logic, but it's like that idea of like, if you keep trekking further, you will eventually go to the different biome where it's hell.
Yeah.
The hell biome.
Literally hell with
they
one
call
L.
it hell, but with one L. But yeah, the locations, and it works really well because at the beginning of the movie, we start off in the past, and the past is very much, it's not in black and white, but it almost has that because of the muted colorscape. It's snowy. We go to the underground with Willem Dafoe's character, and there's this roaring fire, and they're basically in silhouettes, so there's almost like this shadow puppetry look to so many moments in this movie, especially, again, people watch the movie, the final showdown between our lead character and the uncle is basically mirroring that scene with the dad and him as dogs in the cave, where it's like, almost like, again, like a shadow play is being held in front of you instead of like this grandiose action set piece or this grandiose father-son bonding thing over a religious ceremony. So we start out the movie with like, okay, we get this almost like, ethereal but very much drab prologue section. And then when we cut to him as an adult, it's very, very, again, dour. All of these locations, everything's muddy and wet and miserable, and like he's covered in blood, and he's just walking around in like these long tracking shots, and they're burning down buildings, and everything just feels so bleh. And we travel and we go to these places, and then when we get to this farm location that will be the mainstay of the film, that's when it's like, oh, he is like lush environments. He is like colors. He's like a community, even though we are emphasized many times over, this isn't a community. This is a slave camp. Like, these are horrible conditions, but they've made something of it for themselves. So then when at the end, again, people watch it, when the slaves are given the chance to do what they want, they burn it all down, baby. They say, fuck this place. And they turn it into a hellscape itself. There's no coming back to home. It's gone. Like, once our main character commits to the path of revenge fully, everything burns behind him, basically, except for the love interest. And that's like the beam of hope at the end of this movie. It's like, there's one little thing of hope. We got that. But yeah, the visual stuff. How did you feel about, like, in terms of just how the film did it in that way of just like transition from different locations? Because we do go location hopping in this movie a bit. We trek from to and fro. We were in the Russia area.
Yeah, every time they're in like a cave location, I kind of struggle to imagine like where it is in relation to everything else. Like, oh, this is like an underground cave. This is like a cave in the mountain, like where Willem Dafoe was, and he told them about the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was also an interesting contrast, and I know the film explains it, that like the film establishes that like at night the slaves aren't really under guard or anything like that. They do have the kind of freedom to move around, but they just need to rest because they're slaves. They're gonna be working the next day, so it does give our main character, basically freedom to move around because he's strong enough to handle the slave work, even if he doesn't get as much sleep as. And then he gets
a promotion. So
yeah. It's very interesting that, the first half of not first half, but like the chunk of the film before you're at the farm, main character's always in basically like some sort of violent big fight area, and he's like, equal warrior to all these other people, but he's just, edging it out. But then for the rest of the film, after he gets to the farm, he is the strongest guy around, but there's like, an incentive to keep...
And they treat him like he's not.
Yeah, but because there's an incentive for him to lay low. And you just know that, like, oh, okay, yeah, he's... And when he has that line where it's like the first time he tries to pull out the sword and it doesn't work because the sun's rising, he has this line about, like, I'm going to torment them. So it's like, an extra incentive to lie low and just wait for the big climax. He even says, like, I've imagined the climax of this film in my head. I need to wait for that moment.
It is, talking about it, it's getting me more pumped about the movie, if I'm honest, because it has a very methodical pacing to it. I didn't have an issue with the pacing of the movie. I thought it moved quite well for what it is. Like, it is a film that does not hide its motives. It does not hide its intentions. You get that opening monologue where you get the raspiest voice ever telling you what we're going to be in for. And I'm like, okay. And we see how it all goes. We see Ethan Hawke is like the most likable person in the world, and we're going to have to kill him. And he's going to die. You know that this is going to be the story. You just know deep down. And even in his final dying moments where he's like chastising his brother and he's like, strike me now, all of that, he still comes across as like a nice guy. And that will be used against us in the movie going forward, because the main character is a little kid at the beginning. He looks at his dad through this very specific lens, the same lens we get to see him through. And then for the rest of like the 2-hour plus runtime from that point on, we, along with the main character, have to justify the very like one direction revenge path by being like, well, no, that guy deserves to be taken down because Ethan Hawke was such a good guy. We need to get that catharsis of revenge because it's black and white. Ethan Hawke was good guy, uncle bad guy.
And there's this kind of like glee you have, like, oh, and not only is he a bad guy that killed the father, he's not even king, he's just the owner of a farm.
Yeah, he fucked up.
He's so easy to take down. You can just play with him.
He's a fucking loser. Also, we have to save the mum. Like, that's another thing, like, on the checklist. Like, got to save the girl, got to save the mum.
I mean, at the end of the prologue sequence when he's, like, rowing away, he's literally repeating, like...
the three things he needs to do.
Revenge for father, save mum, kill uncle. He, says that 4 or 5 times before it cuts to the future.
Yeah, it's so... and then we see him in the rowboat, and he's just silent, and he's saying it in his mind. He's just, like, as he's in the rowboat with all these other people doing heinous crimes, he's just, like, one-track mind.
That prologue, it just establishes his motive and also like his belief system, and it's consistent throughout the rest. And so
it gives you the villains.
Yeah.
It gives you the guy that he cuts off the nose of in the prologue, and then when you see that guy around, you're like, oh, we're gonna have to take down that guy again because we only got the tip off, like the tip of his nose off. We need to get that guy. Funny thing about that guy, though, for the rest of the movie, he's not even that vile of a character. He's kind of like a pathetic loser because he's got his nose chopped off. He's like constantly in the movie wearing a helmet that covers his nose because he's ashamed. So when we do get the end goal of like, now we have the cinematic moment where we fuck that guy over and we stab him through his nose hole, the catharsis isn't there in the same way like an Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie would be, because
it feels
that
like
guy was just kind of a jerk, but not even that much.
Yeah, you're checking off the boxes. Like, I've got you, and he just slowly.
Yeah, I got a fetus.
Impales his face. Yeah,
and it's not heroic or it's not cinematic. It's just kind of blunt. Another great example of this is when we get to the farm. There are new asshole characters. Hey, remember that little baby the uncle was holding at the beginning? Well, he's a grown man now, and he's a prick. We fucking hate that guy. His son, this beautiful porcelain skin, long-haired guy, he's an absolute asshole. I can't wait for our main character to have one-on-one with him. No, the main character just walks in and stabs him in his sleep. He doesn't even wake him up.
Yeah.
He just plunges it into him while he's asleep, like real cowardly shit.
He had a very stressful plot twist right before.
So
he didn't have time to make it
I don't disagree. But again, this movie zigs where you expect it to zag in that fun way. Like, these are the things that, even though I didn't connect with this movie fully because it was too familiar for me. Like, I knew what to expect from this director and I know this story, but I do love these elements of it where it's like, even that primal, like, bloodlust thing that the audience wants this character to do and he himself wants to do, when we do get them, they're not that satisfying because of just how murky everything has become now. It's no longer just the simple good guy, bad guy, which is how you have to do it. But there's also that part of you as a viewer that does want that. You want it to be like, I want him to take down the petulant little prince boy. And then when he does, you're like, oh, I guess that's a way to do it. But Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, the aforementioned, like, stressful plot twist kind of does shake the
foundation.
The foundation of the film. And it is interesting that even after that moment. Like, there's so many ways you can go after that moment. Like, does the main character change his whole ethos, or does he like continue on with his
double down?
And he kind of chooses to double down.
But then he also chooses to do both, as he does describe. I'm going to choose both things. It's
He does say
you
that,
can't
yeah.
do that, but he does. But let's talk about these characters a bit. So we have like a bunch of wonderful actor people, some that you may know, some you may not.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all like, to me, no one stood out as like, you're not supposed to be here. Because in a movie like this, where you're like, here's a period piece, he's like these strange people like Alexander Skarsgård. I'm not doubting that he's a Viking monster man.
Guy
like,
with the last name Skarsgård can be a Norse character.
Yeah, right.
I will not judge him for anything.
And he's fucking ripped as shit.
Yeah.
And so, but he's not just like a beefcake. He has so much going on in that face and those eyes. There's something about him, even though like he's playing like this monster man, like this humongous guy with blood-stained clothes and all of this. There's some sort of childlike kindness in his eyes, Alexander Skarsgård, where you want to like him, even though he's doing reprehensible shit in this movie and he's physically intimidating. There's some sort of childlike vulnerability, and I've been appreciating that from him as an actor. Like, I've recently saw him in Pillion. His character's very intense in that, but there's something likable about him. There's something charming about him, and it comes down to those eyes. So it's just, they're not piercing, they're soft. They're soft eyes, even though there are moments in this movie where you see him giving like the death glare. It's not as scary of a death glare as
Barks
like...
at a dog and scares it.
Yeah, his death glare isn't as intense as the uncle's. The guy who plays the uncle, when he gives a glare, it feels like it cuts right through anyone it's in the path of. While Alexander Skarsgård, there's something about him where I'm just like... And it works in this movie so well, where I go, you're just a little boy.
Well,
Underneath all of that muscle, you're just a little boy.
Of his three, motivations, like save mum, avenge father, kill uncle, like save mum is like the most innocent one.
Noble.
And you get to see a little bit more gentleness from him, not only, when he's thinking of his mother, but also when he's interacting with, the woman that's eventually going to be mother of his kids.
Yeah. And then we have like Willem Dafoe. You can't go wrong having Willem Dafoe. And I said to my wife, Rachel, before we watched this, we're talking about Willem Dafoe, and Rachel just goes, oh, he's going to be a little freak. And I went, oh, yeah. And then she goes, because he only plays that. And I instinctually just went, oh, that's not true. And then I took a moment, and I'm not joking, for like the next 20 minutes, I was just going, and I was thinking about his filmography, and I could not come up with a single character where he plays a normal man. Willem Dafoe is not like some kind of, over-the-top freak or weird. He's always weird. And I just went, no one complains about that, by the way. There are some people where people complain, like, they always play this. They never play like a normal person. No one does that with Willem Dafoe. No one cares, because Willem Dafoe is just a hard-working character actor man who, has always been here. He's always been doing things, and he's always good. And when you cast him in this movie as like their little jester guy, who's also like their religious priest guy, and you give him all of these wonderful little creepy moments and he does it with creep energy, exposition. He just has such a rich voice. It's already doing the legwork. I'm like, yeah, I want to listen to this. I want to listen to Willem Dafoe tell me about the gods. Honestly,
he put so much into the role, I didn't even know it was him.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I saw his name in the end credits. I'm like, oh, who is he?
And then when you think about it, it's so his voice. You're like, he's almost doing the Norman Osborn speaking to the mask type line delivery in his monologues.
The Norman Osborn in the mirror.
Yes, the mirror and the mask. Yeah, he's that type of energy, but it's for a little jester guy. He's like, I'm here to make jokes. It works out well for his character.
He played Jesus.
He played our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Did you like how it ended for his character? And then Alexander Skarsgård's like, I'll have to get revenge for him too.
How did it end for him again?
He was he got the little head. The other he got his head cut off, his tongue ripped out, and his eyes ripped out.
Right.
That was Willem Dafoe's skull that the witch had, the male witch.
Right,
that was Willem
right.
Dafoe. And then he communed with it, and Willem Dafoe spoke to him about like what he needs to do now, like how he can get the sword. That was, but like if you look at that, like, oh, that's Willem Dafoe's head.
I was mixing it. I thought that was Willem Dafoe.
No. Willem Dafoe's the guy who gives the first
Yeah.
one when he was a kid.
Yes.
And then you find out because he stayed behind and the uncle hated him, he cut out his tongue, ripped out his eyes, and then killed him anyway. And then the guy who revived his skull, like his head, was like, I gave him new eyes and a new tongue. I didn't give him new ears, so he can't hear you. It's like, oh yeah, he cut off his ears too. Like, I didn't give him new ears, though, so he can't hear you. But yeah, I like how it worked out for Willem Dafoe. There's some actors I'm less familiar with, like the uncle. Not as familiar with him, but I thought he was great. Like there's that moment, like, you know, you see moments where he takes off his shirt and you're like, Jesus, he's almost as ripped as Alexander Skarsgård. But when you see him in all of his clothes, you're thinking, this guy won't be able to take him on. This guy won't be able to take this out. Have you seen Alexander Skarsgård? He's fucking huge. This guy is almost as huge. He's, in fact, I think taller than Alexander Skarsgård. So when you see him with the shirt off, you're like, okay, this guy is intimidating as fuck.
And considering it's been almost 2 decades since, you know, he took down the king and, you know, was king himself for a while, you would assume, like, oh yeah, he's aged a bit. So he's even when we do see him, he's going to look even more frail. He
has an ideology, though. You know, there's that brilliant scene early on where he's with the younger son, because he's had a son now with Nicole Kidman's character, with that little younger son's being a little brat, being like, why do we have to do labor? We're not slaves. And the dad talking about, like, not now, but we could be. Things change. We have to show them that we can look after ourselves in case they also turn against us. Like, he has a point of view.
Yeah, immediately reinforcing the information you learnt that, like, yeah, he was king and then he was easily dethroned.
And that he seems like a person that, you know, power is obviously something that matters to him, but it's not the thing that defines him. Like, he's not power mad in this movie. Like, the uncle is like, clearly he wants to be top dog, but as we learn, somebody else wants to be top dog. Somebody else actually wants to have more security in their life. But him, he's just like, look, things change. We just have to be ready for change. That's what he's more about. He's like, hey, I went for power, it didn't work out for me, and now here I am. And if it doesn't work out again, I'll be able to bounce from it. Like, I'll be able to, like, acclimatize.
I like the sequence where, you know, he's mourning his first son's death, and he's like...
Took his
and
heart.
he's like crying, wailing, like, why have you done this to me? Why have you done this to me? Like, playing, like, you know, the innocent man. And then when
religious card.
Yeah, and then when Nicole Kidman tells him, like, oh, this is who killed your son.
She's like, I've already told you who did it. You don't need to do this.
This is why. And you just see on his face just, like, slowly turning, like, he knows, like, oh, there is a deserving reason for why this has actually happened to me.
Ethan Hawke told me that this will be a payback for me later if I took this action. Now it has. I thought the religious stuff was very interesting. Like, they're Norse religion, but there is mentions of Christianity, like this filthy new thing that's pervading our lives.
There's a couple of slaves who are Christians. There's that one lady who's religious Christian.
Yes, and the worry that Alexander Skarsgård is like a Christian invader. Like, is he bringing their Christian revenge onto us?
Oh, don't worry, he's not Christian.
No, but he's worried about that.
If that's the one thing you're worried about, he's not Christian.
He's not Christian, don't worry, but he is worried about that. I thought it was, like, interesting because I said offhandedly a moment before, like, the saving the mother thing, noble. That is me coming in with my modern Christian values. Like, this film does talk about, like, the 3 things that he is after for his background culturally. Those are all equally noble. Those are all treated as the same level of good. Like, if he does not do any of those things, he is damned in his life. Like, that's what matters to their culture, to their values. And so it does make it fun. Like, when the uncle's having that moment, he's showboating that that's what he's about, and then Nicole Kidman brings him back down to reality by being like, yeah, but this, if we're going to play by our rules, you brought this on yourself. You brought this on. You can't play victim with this. And it's like, oh boy.
That's extra fun because one of her big things is that she kind of hates the culture.
There is a crossover with the Green Knight, actor-wise.
Yeah, the Green Knight himself.
The Green Knight himself appears. Ralph Ineson, who is the actor in every Robert Eggers movie. He's in The Witch. He's in this. He's in... I don't think he's in The Lighthouse because there's only like 2 people in that.
Okay.
He may be a voice in The Lighthouse. I can't recall, but he's in Nosferatu. He's great. He is the ship captain that takes them away at the end. That has Anya Taylor-Joy with him in the boat at the end, and then Alexander Skarsgård like gives him his dad's ring to like keep her going. That's the Green Knight himself, and it's like once you know that, he has like an unmistakable voice. So it was very funny to me when you have just this like generic ship captain guy, like he's a nothing character, but Robert Eggers likes this actor, so he's going to cast him. And so for me, it was humorous of like, oh, I visually recognize him. Like, oh, great, nice little cameo and like nice little role. But it was very humorous to me of like this really nothing character having the most commanding godlike voice you've ever heard. And it's like, don't cast this guy as like an incidental throwaway. You can't do that. Like when he was a Green Knight, one of the things that stood out was that voice. So hearing him just be like, all right, I'll keep, like he gets like the generic dialogue you give to some, bitrate actor. It made me chuckle. I went, oh,
yeah. Last year I played through Final Fantasy 16, and I didn't play it in English, but in the English language version of it, he plays one of your like mentor characters.
Oh, that makes sense.
And after seeing the Green Knight and like hearing his voice, like I can already kind of see that voice on that character.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really good. And then we have Nicole Kidman.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's favorite, Nicole Kidman. We've done a lot of Nicole Kidman movies.
We've talked about this, yeah. She's one of our returning figures that we see a lot.
I think it's fair to say that she's one of the great movie stars. She does it all. She does big budget things, indie films. Like, this is an actress who did Moulin Rouge and Killing of a Sacred Deer. This is the same person, like
the Stepford Wives.
The Stepford Wives, like she does it all. And growing up,
she was in Bewitched, yeah?
Yeah, Bewitched. Yeah. She was in Bewitched. She's been in so many movies that we haven't done, of course, like big things. Like she's worked with all the great directors, and yet she also do like these random little movies, and she'll do big things like she's in Aquaman as his mum, which is very funny to think about. But like, I respect the hell out of her as an actress, and that's something I've come to terms with doing this podcast. I've always liked Nicole Kidman, but I think growing up, there was this idea of like, you can't like Nicole Kidman. She's no longer a true Aussie because she went to America and she's doing all these American movies. And then when she came back, it's like, whatever. But I think over time, people are just like, you can't deny not enough actresses in her position with her pedigree do the type of projects she's willing to do. Again, the fact that she did something like Killing of a Sacred Deer when she's already done like, she did Australia. Like she did a Baz Luhrmann romance movie, Australia, and then it's like, now do you want to see Nicole Kidman in a movie where she plays like an uptight freak in Stoker? And I'm like, yes, I do. I love her, and so I was a little bit thrown off at the beginning of this movie because she's the most recognizable actor in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Like Willem Dafoe's recognizable, but he often plays these type of roles. He's never like a lead. He's rarely a leading actor. And Alexander Skarsgård, he's a working actor. He's a leading guy too, and he's the lead. But Nicole Kidman, as soon as I see her, I'm like, oh, come on. She's going to matter later. You can't just hold her. The movie holds her off for so long. And I'm like, you don't cast Nicole Kidman unless you're going to use her. And then the movie knocks on the door and says, here's the scene where we use her. And it's arguably the best scene of the entire movie. And you just go, that's why you cast Nicole Kidman.
She was the one that I had to get used to the fact that it's this actress doing funny accent.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I didn't really notice the accent, honestly. Like, it didn't bother me. It was more just like, she's such a recognizable presence, and the movie held off on it for so long. And I was like, are you wasting Nicole Kidman here? You have to use Nicole Kidman.
It really teases you because the first time you see her in the present day section of the film, it is just very brief look when he's peeking through a door. It's like, oh, she is here. She's going to do something.
Yeah. And then they hold off. But it's worth it.
Yeah,
it's all worth it.
You do see her quite a number of times before that scene where he finally approaches her.
Yeah,
and you do get this sense of like, okay, there is something going. She's either so used to this that she's taking it all kind of normally, or there's something going on in her head, and in a way, it's both at the same time.
Of course, is it Stockholm syndrome, or is she more in charge than we can give her credit for.
Yeah, she has this one line where it's like, oh, that thing I did in the prologue, that was me doing this instead. And you go back and watch that, I'm like, I don't know if you're telling the truth about that.
That's what's so awesome about it. How much of it is her bullshitting and how much of it is all true?
Yeah, that's the one thing I rewound to at the end of the film, just to make sure.
But then she has evidence of things, and you're like, okay, maybe you are telling the truth. Like the slave brand thing on her. It's like, oh, okay, that does recontextualize a lot. Okay, maybe Ethan Hawke wasn't as nice of a guy. I mean, what we did see of him, he did seem like he has a very jovial attitude, but he's all about like, warrior, brutal, nasty shit. So maybe you have a point. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
we see him around his son where he's like being jovial and being like, you're a man now, I will not treat you like a child, but even as a father, I still want to give you a big hug.
There's multitudes to people. So, Nicole Kidman, I think it was more, she distracted me on the fact that her and Alexander Skarsgård are much closer in age than I can suspend my disbelief for. She and him literally played husband and wife in a TV show before this.
There you go.
And now she's his mum.
Yeah, I think the trivia says she's 9 years older than him.
Yeah. And I love Nicole, and they try to make her look old in this movie. And this is another thing, not to shame, but Nicole Kidman's had a lot of plastic surgery. And so when I'm watching this period piece movie by a guy who's all about accuracy and about like details, and I have an actress who looks like Nicole Kidman, I kind of go, you're not in the same realm as these other actors like Alexander Skarsgård, who I believe literally eats raw meat, like Anya Taylor-Joy, who I feel is like a Norse deity, creature, goddess who's descended from the sky to tell us about like why revenge is maybe the path we shouldn't trod, like then you got Nicole Kidman, who, yes, you notice the accent, and I'm more like, you're not old enough to be his mum. You need someone else to be his mum.
It is funny because I don't know much about Robert Eggers or his like perfectionist attitude, but there just were a couple of things here and there that's like, well, a lot of this does feel really authentic. Like, again, I'm trusting the film on this, but also I guess the fact that I am hearing them speaking English and in these accents does kind of distract for it. I was honestly kind of thinking about The Beast of War, that film that we did many years ago, where one of our big things there was like, yeah, we're following these Russian characters, but they're American actors not even like doing 1% of a Russian accent. No. Like, I almost wondered if that would have worked more effectively.
You may love Nicholas Winding Refn's film. He did a Viking movie, and it's got Mads Mikkelsen is the lead, so that's fun.
Mads Mikkelsen, put a bookmark on that name.
Yeah. Oh no, I got a vibe. But it has him. I'm forgetting the name of it, but yeah, it's basically a revengey type movie as well, and they're obviously speaking in whatever language. Mads Mikkelsen knows like 8 languages, so pick whatever one.
Polyglot.
But but Nicole Kidman is the most important part of the movie because yes, she helps shake the foundation of our understanding. That scene is the best scene in my opinion. Like, it's such an awesome scene of like her reveal, and like I may give Nicole some flack here, but her acting is so good. I'm like, oh man, Nicole Kidman, yes, play a absolutely villainous, monstrous harpy creature, but then you know that there's something underneath. You go, are you performing right now? Is the character performing this?
How do you save mum and kill the people responsible for your father's death?
If
the
mum
person responsible for father's death is mum.
Yeah, or doesn't want to be saved at all. Do you believe her? Like, what is your view on her character?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. Because the thing that I rewound to look at it, she says the main character says like, oh, I saw you like being carried by him. You were screaming. And she's like, I was laughing, not screaming. I was so happy. And when I finished the film and I rewound, like, she's very clearly screaming.
See, I don't know. I also had a little look at some of the early scenes. I looked at the prologue more to kind of get the vibe of her and Ethan Hawke's relationship more so than that
I didn't
scene.
go back on that, yeah.
That's interesting to go back and watch because there is something there. If I just can say this, her relationship with the uncle seems more equal and warm than it is with Ethan Hawke, where it's much more she's the wife role.
Yeah. No,
But also in this movie, she's also like kept at a distance as well. Like I know she appears a lot, but there is a level of like she's in her little house up on the hill.
No, the contradiction there, I should have said this part after I mentioned the screaming part, is I do think that she was screaming in that part, but I also do kind of believe her that she was, part of this conspiracy, because there's just
her acting.
Her acting is, yes, very stellar, but also just the reasoning she gives actually does make sense to me. Like, the men are these super violent people. We're following the son of this super violent king guy who's following in his footsteps, and he's, just as great as he is, and he's following his words. But like, what were his mum's words? Like, I didn't remember. The first thing you see of them is like he barges into a room while she's changing. He's like, make sure you knock, basically. And yeah, you don't get.
She says it with absolute commanding presence too. Like there's an anger when she says it. Like it's not just a mum telling off her kid. It was a real, like, her hair is so long and it whips around in that moment when she's getting her clothes on in the first scene.
Yeah. And even aside from the fact of, me hearing the funny accent coming out of familiar Australian woman aside, like I did feel that tone there.
Oh yeah. I believe her to an extent. I think what's the most interesting thing to think about is her relationship with the Ethan Hawke character is almost like a warning, a ominous warning of what could become of our lead and his relationship. Because again, it's like here's this slave woman with the long blonde hair, and like she's kind of warning, like, I had to do that because I had no other choices. And with the relationship our lead forms with this, they have good chemistry. Anya Taylor-Joy's a good actress, but there is a question of like, what other choice does she have? He's like the only guy that she can use to get free. And there is that nice little bit where it's like, and you came back for me. She didn't have to come back for him, but it's like she felt the pull of destiny bring her there. Yeah. And you get Nicole Kidman kind of talk about that too, like that sense of it is my role that I had to perform, but I fucking hated it.
She's always, it looks like, it feels like she's always looking for a better position. So when she, was, kissing her son and saying like, oh, you can kill your uncle and then we can rule together. Like I bought that too. Like, oh, if that's better than this, then sure. And then when he doesn't go to that, it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm staying in this position. I'm on the uncle side still. Yeah,
she's shameless in a lot of ways.
That's the way to put it. Yeah,
but fascinating because she's the character that brings in the idea that things are not set in stone, that things are not black and white, that things are much more grey, that things are not as simple as your little child internal logic has made it out to be.
She has
perhaps if you think about everything that's going on, it's much more nuanced than that, and it really does broaden out the scope of your understanding. Like when you do take even a modicum of what she says on board, you now start to look at the uncle character differently, and that guy's performance makes a lot more sense. Like there's always a level of like sorrow in his performance. Like it's not like he's ever taking actual relish and glee in doing these monstrous, barbarous things. And that makes you go, is he doing it of his own volition, or is he doing it out of some higher calling, whether it's his religious higher calling, the higher calling of being a man in power, or because of Nicole Kidman?
You mentioned before, and I didn't consider this until we started talking about it, you mentioned before that they have a more equal relationship, Nicole Kidman and the uncle. There was a line she had that I liked, and I'm now connecting to, uncle's mythology, not mythology. Ideology, thank you so much. It's the one where she's like, revealing that she started out as a slave and became the queen. It's like, how quickly a low-born slave can become a princess or a king. It very much mirrors what he was saying to his son in his first appearance.
About how it could go the opposite way.
Yeah, it's like, we could be in the opposite position on the other foot, the next day. You always got to be ready.
And we have the love interest, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. She was the lead actress of his film The Witch.
She was in The Menu, right?
And she was in The Menu, yes. And she's very successful. She's in a ton of things.
I think there's one other thing we've done, but I've forgotten what it is.
Yeah, she's like in a million things. She's got that very striking look, the long neck, those those eyes. She's also someone that's like from everywhere. Like she speaks multiple languages. I think she's from like Brazil initially. I think
South America.
I think she's from. Maybe I'm wrong, but I want to say like there's clips of her where she's speaking like Spanish and whatever. Like she's
like Brazilian Portuguese.
Portuguese, something I want to say. But but then also like she can I think speak like Russian and does all these things. And
her whole vibe is like European, so that's why the South America part's
I think got raised in England for a while, and then like I think was born in the US. Like she's from everywhere. Argentina. She's Argentinian.
Okay.
So Buenos Aires. So yeah, she's one of those where kind of like I just mentioned a moment ago, like, you know, you had Mads Mikkelsen, where it's like, oh, he speaks all of these languages and he's from everywhere, but it's like he's very European central. She's worldwide, baby. And in this movie,
certainly Northern Hemisphere.
You don't doubt for a second, oh, she's a Norse figure herself. Like just the look of her in this, and I really liked her performance. I thought she was like the kind of the heart of the movie in a lot of ways. Like she's the moral center of the movie, but she's also doing nasty revenge plot of her own. I like that for her. I'm like, good for you.
Well, she's trying to survive.
Yeah. What did you feel about her? Especially because we've seen her in one or two things, and this is different to those.
No, yeah, I liked her. She was good.
And what did you feel about her character overall? Because she gets a lot to do, and then, you know, she helps bring that that kind of good ending for the main character. Like, hey, there's some sense of something more beyond your revenge path.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess there's just so much of the film that's away from her that it almost feels like a different film when she's around.
Yeah, she gets to have 2 children with him. Like that's like the family tree imagery I really liked. That was very cool.
That was interesting. Yeah, like the literal family tree of this, like, you know, giant leafless tree, and like the members are at the end of these branches, like hanging there.
Yeah, and they're like connected to each other.
Yeah, and it was only like halfway through the film we saw that imagery like 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, oh, family tree. I get it. This is almost like a comedic visual in a way.
Fun fact, Anya Taylor-Joy's first ever movie was Vampire Academy as uncredited feeder girl. So she was like one of the people...
That's not even the thing
that she's in the hospital and she like helps feed people her blood. So she's not even a vampire. So that's kind of funny. But yes, she was in Split, of course. Glass.
Yeah.
She's like the girl in Glass.
There we go.
She's a great actress. She's one that's just like, she's doing a bunch and she's great. Yeah, she was good. Any other things you want to talk about with the Northman, the film itself? Any moments, themes, sequences, end stuff?
Really got to think.
Because we get the violence, and a lot of it is actually surprisingly off screen, like the way he dispenses with people. Like here, their corpses after, and he's like displayed them. Yeah. Was really good. Like the way that it builds up to violence. Like we have the good bit at the beginning with like the 1-track shot of him walking through a village and like decimating people. Then we kind of hold off for a good little while, like some scraps, some punches, that game that they were playing when he's a slave. Yeah, that was cool.
Suddenly a little sport moment.
Yeah, a little sport moment where there's a guy that's bigger than him, that's a genuine threat to him. I like that the most intimidating force he faces against is just some random other slave guy.
Yeah, he's just like too crazy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the son of a noble has entered the field.
I will kill him.
I'm crazy. I almost said I'm noble. I'm crazy, so I'm going to go crazy on this guy.
He just cares about the sport that much.
Yeah. It's interesting. This is obviously a film with fantasy elements, and it holds out on the fantasy a little bit. But it does bring them in. And I do like that, we have a couple of mystical characters. Like I think one of them's played by Bjork, even.
Yes, Bjork. Yes.
There's a couple of moments where like they do a mid shot sequence thing of them vanishing, and it's always effective.
Oh yeah.
There's always like something that just like covers them for just a brief moment. They vanish.
I love what nighttime looks like in this movie. Like you can actually see things, and it's not like blue. It's kind of this almost sepia-esque color look to it. There's just something about like it's kind of like this whitish orangey hue at nighttime. I really like how night looks, and it kind of merges with the Bjork character where like now we've entered like in movies and slash video games, like when you enter like the spooky paranormal realm, everything kind of freezes and becomes a slightly different color hue. It's like when Professor X makes the room freeze with his mind, and like now all the lights go out. It's that type of thing,
like the time stop kind of effect.
But we get that with some fantastical things.
Yeah, the Dark Souls sequence, as people call it. Yeah, when he's fighting the undead thing with the sword.
Bjork was actually very instrumental to this movie, I learned. So Robert Eggers and Alexander Skarsgård, there was apparently some drama about like who came up with this story, because Alexander Skarsgård wanted to do a Viking movie. He's always wanted to do
Sorry, between who?
Robert Eggers and Alexander Skarsgård.
Okay.
Of who came up with this movie, basically. Who helped get this happening.
Right.
Because Alexander, and they both determine it's Alexander Skarsgård. He wanted to do a Viking movie. He wanted to do this story, and he'd been trying to get something happening. Robert Eggers was interested, got involved.
Oh, yeah, Skarsgård was the producer of this film, wasn't he?
And Robert Eggers got in touch with Bjork, and she's all into this fucking shit. And she hooked him up with this author guy who's one of the writers of the movie, because he knows all of this stuff. So Bjork is actually key to everything, not just in terms of her role physically in the movie, but like in the behind the scenes. She's into this, and she knew the right person to help make this movie become the thing it is. And I love one of the behind the scenes trivia was just so amusing of cast members got gifts from this movie, from the set. Nicole Kidman got given the sword. Isn't that fun?
Oh, the sword itself? Oh, cool.
And Willem Dafoe got given the long ship, like the rowing ship. He got given that.
Oh,
Willem Dafoe.
That's a huge gift.
Bjork got 3 horses.
Whoa.
Yeah, 3 horses for Bjork. And what about Alexander Skarsgård, I hear you ask? What did he get? He's the lead actor. Surely he must have gotten something great. Yes, he did, Bartek. The bloody loincloth he wears in the final action scene is what he got as a gift. I love that. Like, Willem Dafoe gets a fucking boat. Like, why does he get that? But Alexander, you get the bloody the bloody nappy you wore.
Right. I just want to point out, I really want to see a movie called 3 Horses for Bjork. Just a really funny thing to say.
It's a Czech movie.
Yeah.
It's a Czech movie made by Ulrich Lipsky somehow.
The title needs to be more like, I want to give 3 horses for Bjork, please, or something.
No, it would be like, 3 horses for Bjork, please. Send to her address.
Yes. We're creating the next late 20th century Czech film.
That got Bartek so good, he did a little snort laugh with that. That was very cute.
I did, didn't I?
Yes, you're very happy. I love the ending. I thought the final fight scene was brilliant. I thought it was short and sweet, but to the point. Mm-hmm. I thought
Take notes, Revenge of the Sith.
Take fucking notes, Revenge of the Sith. You can have them fight in hell. And this is the case. I was so worried about this because one of the things I knew going in, this is actually true. And I was worried because of you, because this is a common complaint. One of the critiques held against this movie was the fight scene at the end was dissatisfying because it was visually too dark to see. And I know that's been a complaint with some movies with you over the years, and I often differ with you. I'm like, nah, I didn't have that. And I was like, watching this, I'm like, I hope Bartek doesn't have a problem, because I'm like, this is on purposely like dark in the way that like you don't see. There comes a point where you can barely see which one's which when they throw each other around and they're hacking at each other.
It's funny. 5 minutes ago, maybe even less, you were talking about how there's like a darkness effect in this film, and I didn't even really occur to me that that was ever like a detriment to it.
Yeah, there's just lots of silhouettes. You know, like the harsh lighting of the fires, of the magma, of whatever engulfs them in complete shadow and darkness, but it's a full effect. It honestly reminded me of Bram Stoker's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola, when you get like the battle sequences of him as Vlad the Impaler at the start, and he literally uses like shadow marionette stuff to get that across.
I kind of remember.
That's at the very beginning, but like that's much more wink wink, we're doing old school movie making. But Robert Eggers comes from a very similar school. Like he loves old school movie making tricks to get that period PC effect. And so even with this, it felt like very, very much like how they would on a stage play version do this type of fight. But I like the fight. I liked how they took each other out very, very nicely, like cut off the head and the other stabs through the heart. Very symbolic, very meaningful. I'm like, yep, you did it. And Alexander Skarsgård's
We both got revenge.
face looking, just the tight shot of his face as he's looking up into Valhalla, being like, yep, I succeeded at what I needed to do.
Yeah, the moment where he kills his mum and half brother, and the uncle comes and takes them away.
No ceremonies, just
No ceremony. There is a sense of like, this wasn't really the best move for me to make, and yeah, obviously that uncle character now has also got to get some revenge. So the fact that they both kill each other, it's like, hey, they both fulfilled their culture.
there's nothing left. We shall meet at the gates of hell. And that is it. That is the Northman. Anything else? You know what? Talking about this, I'm liking the movie more. I'm recommending this movie, baby.
Yeah, this is another case where it's like, the film's not my cup of tea, but goddamn, I've talked quite a bit about it and very positively.
My wife is not anymore because the show is bad, but she's
still your wife.
Yes, she's still my wife. No, she was a fan of the show True Blood, the horny vampire show. And Alexander Skarsgård was the lead man in that show. He was the main guy, hot guy. And he played a character called Eric, I want to say. And Rachel keeps talking about like, Eric from this. And when, we went to go see Pillion recently and he's in that. And I'd ask her like, hey, did he get naked like this? Because, it's a show where they get naked a lot. And she goes, no, it's more like show his butt. Not enough like, no full shot like in this movie or this movie. And then in this, I'm like, so was he as jacked as this? And Rachel's like, no, of course not. Jesus Christ. Like he's fit. He's really fit, but not this level of fit where muscles upon muscles. And so I had a good chuckle. And over the years, Rachel just goes, yeah, Eric. And then I looked at his IMDb. I was like, let's appreciate, he's one of these Skarsgårds, these actors. They love work, these Skarsgårds. Like his brother is Pennywise the clown. Like his dad, Stellan Skarsgård, like he's in everything. He was up for an Oscar recently, I'm fairly sure. Like he's been in them up for Oscars in the past. So I was looking him up, and then I see True Blood and his character name, Eric. Oh, that's great. He has a last name. And I said to Rachel, I said, how dare you? How dare you?
How dare you not tell me his last name?
How dare you? And she goes, what? And she goes, and I said, you can't do this, Rachel. You can't do this. His name is Eric Northman. And I just said, we just finished watching The Northman.
Oh my God, I got dizzy.
And his name for his most famous role is Eric Northman.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe's, that's not his real name. It's Willem Lighthouse.
I mean, Willem isn't his real name.
Yeah,
but that's also a thing. But that is it. Both recommend. At the start of this, you were a little bit lesser on it than... And I feel like at the beginning, I was like, a little bit too familiar. But hey, if it works, it works.
And it's one of those things where I don't know if I necessarily want to watch it again, at least anytime soon. But yeah, there's a lot here if you give it a chance.
Although there's stuff that runs counter to what I'm about to say, something about this movie, visually speaking, the setting, even though, again, the setting's also different, remind me of The Village. Just these...
They both feel pretty cold.
Yeah, they're both cold, but they're like the yellow hue and just like this desolate location. The Village has much more like what the Witch has, like all of these trees around. But there's just something about like the mood of it made me think of The Village, but not stupid, like The Village ends up being for me. But Bartek,
no,
it is your time to recommend a movie, and I don't know if that bookmark is going to be brought out right now, but you mentioned a bookmark for Mads Mikkelsen. I don't know if it's going to have him in this one, but
why did I put this bookmark in? Why?
Yes.
Oh, it's because it's a film with Mads Mikkelsen.
Is it a foreign film?
It is a foreign film.
Oh,
yes,
great.
It's my foreign pick. I know it's been a while. My last pick was an American one.
Okay.
It was also very weird to think that the last Listening People Choice film that we did was The Meg. That feels like a lifetime ago.
Very good.
Yeah, so this is one that I haven't necessarily thought about this film a lot, but I really just want to see a Mads Mikkelsen film.
That's fair.
Yeah, and another Danish one. I believe it's Danish. And I was thinking like, what ones are there? And I was like, there was one a couple of years ago that like won Best International Film at the Oscars. How about that one? So I don't know much about it, but let's go with that one. It's the 2020 film Another Round.
Do you know who directed it?
Oh, I've got the Wikipedia page on so I can read
Have
it.
a look at their films, and you'll be very pleased.
Thomas Vinterberg.
Yes, Thomas Vinterberg.
Okay.
Yes, please have a gander at what other films he's done.
Filmography, feature films. Come on.
Yeah, please, feature.
Let's see. The Hunt.
The Hunt, yeah.
There we go.
They're back together again, baby.
My favorite film of that year.
And fun fact, so Bartek and I are trying this year to do films that have come out since we've started the podcast that maybe we missed.
Hence this film.
Hence this film. Hence the yes, and and you didn't even realize that it's the team of the Hunter back at it again.
Yeah.
And yes, it was an Academy, darling, all of that. You'll be thrilled to know I made a list of films that I am going to do in order of years.
Did I steal one from you?
Another Round, baby, was on my list because the exact same reason. I was like, Bartek has been wanting to see another Mads Mikkelsen movie, and I was like, oh, he did one with the director of The Hunt, and I knew in my mind, I don't think Bartek knows about that. I'm like, he may know about this film, but I don't think he knows that it's by the same team of The Hunt, so let's get into it. Another Round, baby. That will be up next time on the pod, so make sure to give that a viewing for yourself. Until then, you can find us on the social medias of Facebook and Twitter. You can let us know your thoughts. You can give us your own film recommendations for things you want us to talk about on the pod through those social medias or our email address, which is...
Our email address is spitandpolished@gmail.com, which you can see in the description if you want to see how to spell it.
We make sure to include all of those things in the description. We're on all of those podcasting sites. We even have a YouTube channel. You can drop a comment on the YouTube. We take those into account as well. We reply. We add things to our list from there. We had a very funny YouTube reply to our conversation of talking about Czech films earlier. Adele hasn't had her dinner yet and all of that. Where the person was like, lads, this is a Czech film. And I'm like, yeah, we know. We talk about that from minute one. Yeah. I don't know what. I think they saw the name Spit and Polish,
yeah,
and they're like, "This isn't a Polish movie.
Why
are you doing a Polish movie?" I'm like, "We know, buddy. We talk about like all the different Czech names for the film in like the first 5 minutes. We talk about all of them and how the Polish variant is not that dissimilar."
I remember I checked the transcript and like, Control F check. I'm like, yeah, we say it a few dozen times.
Yeah, many times. But what can you say? The Polish of our name can be a blessing where we're in the top 10 Polish podcasts, but it can be a curse where Czech people see it and go, you're not from our place.
And I think we're in the like top 25 two men podcasts or whatever. Because our description has like two Polish gentlemen in the...
Yeah, are we in the top 10 gentlemen podcasts? But thank you all so much for being here and listening. We're back, baby, and we'll be back again soon. But until then, remember to be kind to each other. And if you must seek revenge, make sure to impregnate somebody so that your lineage can continue on, okay?
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay. Bartek's dad just gives a fist pump hearing that information. Like, yes!
Finally! I can be a grandfather by blood.
Yes! This is the one episode he listens to.
Yes.
He's like, I really like that Northman. Could you imagine your dad watching this film? I don't know what your dad's film tastes are like at all.
Oh, I literally put down a film in the Listening People's Choices that he recommended.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll find out what that is in the future.
Yeah. It's a film he's shown me before, so I've seen it, but yeah.
The Lion King?
He loves The Lion King 2019.